the victory of the Super Eagles almost made me forget that it's AFCON special. But yes, it is AFCON special. My name is Tisha Gondoya with me, and I have some interesting guests for you tonight. We just watch an epic encounter. Tune in favor of the Super Eagles against the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Energy, strength, fluidity, and much more was on the show this evening in Abidjan. It was live from Abidjan this evening. I have Kolade Daniels, and together we'll be having a few minutes of discussion about the encounter. Good evening to you, Kolade. Can you hear me? Okay, I think we have some bit of connection issues there. It looks like Kolade can't hear me, but I have Biodun still here with me in the studios. Biodun, fantastic game we had there. Did you see that coming? 2-0, sweet game.
Blood rush. Maybe I didn't expect a clean sheet, but I expected that the Super Eagles were supposed to edge Cameroon, going by their performances from the last round, and banking on the fact that whenever it was in the final, the Super Eagles always beats them. So it wasn't surprising that we won. Maybe surprising that we had a clean sheet in that game, and maybe not even surprising that we had a clean sheet because our defensive game has been some kind of masterpiece throughout this tournament, and that was what we saw on display again today.
How good was Victor Osimhen? How good was Victor Osimhen on the night? He didn't get a goal, but whoever wasn't watching would probably think he didn't score again today.
I think at this point, everybody who has been saying he's not been contributing the goals would have to admit that even if he doesn't score, he plays for the team, and it doesn't mean that he's not one of the best players in the squad. He does the job, and he does it as if he doesn't do the job. So that shows that he's putting in a lot of work. He defends when he has to defend. He's up front when he has to go up front. And look at the way he set up Ademola Lookman for the first goal.
Fantastic goal.
Fantastic goal. And, he could have been selfish there trying to shoot, but then he saw the space, took it, laid it off for Ademola Lookman, and luckily we got that into the back of the net. And throughout the game, it was a menace to the Cameroonian defenders.
Obviously, kept bullying them.
And I'm surprised that they only got one yellow card.
All right, very quickly now, sorry Biodun, but we have to go to Mr. Kunle Salami right there in the stadium in Côte d'Ivoire. Good evening, sir. Can you hear my voice?
Oh my goodness. It looks like network is not our friend tonight. I would have really loved to hear from our guests from the other end there, but I don't know what is happening. I guess the network is a Cameroonian tonight. But I'm so sure that the Cameroonian network will be delivered.
A matter of minutes. So I have to stick with Abiodun, who is by my side here in the studio. Abiodun, Ademola Lookman, goal scorer, disturber. What else can we call him?
The technicality that we have seen in this guy over time, everybody thought it might not really be suitable for what we do on the African continent at the AFCON. But then, he's proven a lot of people wrong. From game one to the second game, he was sat out of the last game, and now he's back in the starting lineup again. And he's showing us why he chose to represent the country. And good for him, his first AFCON goal, and he got a brace to mark a very remarkable game for the Super Eagles tonight. And what it means is that this guy has shown that he has the spirit, he has the tenacity. Not just about, everything is not about physicality, he has shown it. But then even when he needs to be physical, he gets that, wins the ball, wins tackles, make passes, runs and dribbles. Look at the setup of the second goal. Got the ball from the throw-in, ran at the defender, gave the pass to someone, ran into the space, collected the ball, and that was all that he needed.
Fantastic.
So, you need a little bit of technicality and a little bit of physicality. Just when you bring the both together, when you bring the two together, you get what you want.
All right, very quickly, let's go over to Kolade Daniels now in the stadium. Kolade, can you hear me?
Good evening, Kolade. Kolade, can you hear me? Oh my goodness.
Looks like the network is still giving us some issues here. Biodun, right now, Nigerians really do not care as I speak. The most important thing is that we are through to the next round. We'll be playing against Angola at the weekend. I mean, coming weekend. I think it's Friday or Saturday. Of course, we are not too interested in the fixture. We wanted to go past Cameroon. Now we can begin to look for the exact date. But let's talk about the back line now. How will you rate those guys over 10? The backline of Trust Ekong, Shemi Ajayi, Zaidu Sanusi. How will you rate their coordination, their partnership, their strength, their endurance?
You know, if we had considered and still won this game, it wouldn't have taken anything of them. So to think that we didn't even concede at all throughout this game, it's a testament to the fact that there's a lot of coordination. There was just one particular moment that he was shaky a little bit, but anything aside that, there was a lot of composure, there was a lot of concentration at the back, and that's what paid off. So it's been a defensive masterclass from the back three or the back five, as the case may be for the Super Eagles, and they just have to keep pushing the game from the back that way. And when they go up front too, we see the threat to the post too. So it's just beautiful to see that we defend really well.
Going forward, Zaidu Sanusi was, I think it was poor. And the few minutes that we saw Calvin Bassey play his role after he went off, Calvin was brilliant.
Very fluid, and at a point in time, you get to remember that this guy started playing for Nigeria on the left flank as well. And I remember most of the people that watched the game against Ghana in Abuja, they would even say, if Zaidu was available for that game, maybe Calvin Bassey would not have played because he didn't bring his best. But over time now, Calvin Bassey is like, he has eased into the style of play of the Super Eagles, particularly with the current setup of the team, 3 at the back or 5 at the back. And when he even moved to the flanks, we saw his fluidity as well, and his technicality. Won a couple of free kicks, did a couple of passes, and look at the cross for the second goal too. Pinpoint straight into the leg of Lookman.
Ademola Lookman.
And that was all that we did. So he has eased into the game, he has grown into the game, and it's not surprising that we have this mentality now among the boys, and going into the quarterfinals, you just want to go all the way.
Kolade Daniels, can you hear me? Good evening to you.
All right, fantastic. The network is now clear. Can you hear me, Kolade?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So Kolade Daniel, like I said earlier, is reaching us live from the stadium. Of course, you know the game just ended between Nigeria and Cameroon. Kolade, if I had 10,000 naira and I put that on Angola and Nigeria victory, how much do you think that would have given me tonight?
That one has been the way of the money because to be fair, I can tell you
okay, so now separating the games now, what odds did Angola have? And what odds did the Nigerian Super Eagles have before the began? All right. Now I'm looking at the finals now because when you get into the quarterfinals, something in you tells you that you have your eyes looking at the finals. What odds is it for the Super Eagles to win AFCON 2024?
At the moment, we're at the fourth time. But when you get to
all right, thank you very much for your time. But last question for you now, Kolade. What is the mood in the stadium right now from the Nigerian?
Very, very important. And I don't know if the camera showed that after the game, the Super Eagles players around the pitch and very big. I think everybody
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time there, Kolade Daniels, all the way from Ivory Coast. In fact, he's in the stadium and he could get the entire game live. I mean, I think it's a different spirit. We've watched a lot of games now, Biodun, and when you're in the stadium, there's different feel to it.
And in fact, when you watch Nigeria versus Cameroon, it comes with a different feeling. I'm very sure for most of us that only started seeing this rivalry from 2004, we still get some kind of goosebumps.
You didn't watch Ghana-Nigeria? Ghana-Nigeria 2000.
And of course, the final in 2000 as well. So for a lot of us that saw that one too, and most people that saw other finals that we've lost against them, and you know, this game reminds you of a lot of events that has played out between the two countries. So the rivalry is fixed. So when you watch this kind of game live in the stadium, you also catch the fever as much as the players do. So it's just a beautiful thing to behold, to just see Nigeria do it over them again. So 8 games at the AFCON now. We have outrightly, there are 4 wins. They have 3.
But it looks like they always defeat us in the finals.
They always defeat us. That's just the problem. When we beat them in the final, we don't just beat them.
All right, Biodun, let's talk about the midfield. Alex Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, and who else was there in the middle? Yeah, I mean, but the other guys were dropping in to help in the middle of in the midfield. I mean, let's rate them now. I think it's a contrast.
It's a very big contrast because Frank Onyeka has been on the way up from the first game. The first game, he was a little bit not there. But from the second game, he started
grew into the competition. The
third game, he showed up. And today, we saw him
he was everywhere.
All over the
He was everywhere.
So, he just keeps getting the best game in the Nigerian colours at every game. But for Alex Iwobi, he keeps going down because it becomes difficult for him to... I think it's a problem of adaptability because... more often when we see Alex Iwobi, it's usually on the sides or very close to the striker. So dropping so deep, you only see him at times clean up when he has to clean up. When he has to make some passes, maybe out of 5 passes, he gets 2 correctly. 1.5. And maybe 3 remaining passes, he doesn't really get them right. So, but then, he still does the job. If he wasn't, mind you, they would have seen him technically on the bench too and just drop him. So maybe he was doing what was required of him, and the goal was stay compact, don't concede. As long as he was doing that, I'm very sure the coaches will be cool with him. But going forward, he wasn't giving so much, except for one or two passes in that game that he made going forward. And aside that, there was really nothing. So Alex Iwobi just a little bit above average in this game, but for Frank Onyeka, excellent, superb, and he had one of his A games today. The
statistics remained the way it had always been. Whenever the Super Eagles of Nigeria score first, they usually don't concede.
They don't
I think this was the 91st match that has been going on for the Super Eagles. Once the Super Eagles of Nigeria score you first, they are never going to lose that game. Once they score you first, they are never. I think that's good enough.
You know, it's really good to build character as a team, and it makes you dreadful to your opponents, and it makes you like more superior. And even if your opponents have to do if you have to do a lot of research off the field before going into the game, it's one of the things they will be paying attention to. They will just keep saying, don't allow them score before us. But eventually you will do, and the character will be there. We see a lot of these things happen with teams in Europe and all of that. We just have statistics like even when they concede, they come back to win, and you see when they come back to win. So it's important to build character as a team. And I'm glad that the Super Eagles have that one going for them. But regardless of the character too, it's been a long time coming. 11 years since we last won the AFCON, and as footballing as we have, we only have 3 AFCON titles. So if we have such character, I think we should really be pushing with the amount of talent that we have. Maybe this might just be the time, but then we're going into the quarterfinals. Let's see, one game at a time. We see Angola next, and of course, we see who comes next.
Let's talk about the goalkeeping segment. I think we had a fantastic run. Stanley Wabali, brilliant goalkeeper. Unfortunately, that Cameroonian player looked like he was determined to send him out of the game. And I saw Stanley Wabali rolling on the floor as usual. And I thought, okay, it's just, I mean, he loves doing Stanley Wabaliism. Yeah, so that was what I thought until he had to leave the pitch. And Francis Uzor came on from while he was warming up. Everybody was under pressure. Everybody was under pressure. Even on social media, Nigerian Twitter ex-users were under pressure. You were under pressure. I was under pressure. You could see Kenneth Omeru urging Francis Uzor to, trying to charge him up. I mean, I don't know how serious Nwabali's injury is, but is it time for us to start heading to God in prayers?
Well, I don't think we should press the panic button. We have 3 goalkeepers. But sadly, if that was a knee injury, Nwabali's AFCON might just be over. And that means we'll be banking on Olorunleke Ojo and Francis Uzor for the rest of the tournament. Quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the finals. It's a team game. And that is why we are there with 3 goalkeepers. I think if Uzor wasn't even good enough, he won't be in the team. So it's a problem of confidence.
We have past experience.
It's a problem of confidence over time that we haven't seen in this guy. And we saw Stanley Nwabali in 3 group matches and 1 quarter-final game. We saw how calm he usually is. The ball that he went for, that eventually got him injured, he saw the pressure right in front of him, the player coming for him. But it was up in the air as if there was nothing around him. And he was hoping to land safely and just throw the ball as usual until he got a kick in his leg and probably twisted his knee while going down too. So it's just a problem of, that's the stark contrast between what we've seen in Nwabali and what we've not seen in Francis Uzor. I said one thing over and over again. It doesn't matter if Nwabali has even been tested in this competition. He has only conceded in the first game against
Equatorial Guinea, and it wasn't exactly his fault.
It wasn't. So it doesn't matter if after that goal he has been tested or not. What is important is that a ball that is not supposed to be a goal
does not
become a goal. So that's just the most important thing. So at this point, I think the technical crew, the psychologists, or whoever it is, and every other member of that team will have to instill whatever confidence that Uzor needs. Like Omeru did just before he came. They will have to do a lot of that going forward. And of course, we've been solid defensively. Maybe we can back on that. But then I hope it won't be a case of if we are breached at the back, we'll see the ball at the back.
There's no other option except for the ball to go into the net.
So maybe let's just wait until tomorrow, scans and all of that. Let's see how soon Nwabali will be able to clear. But largely, injury-wise, this has not been the best of tournaments.
For us,
I can imagine the kind of headache the coach will be having.
Currently going through. All right. I think this was our best performance. We've played 4 games. I think this was our best performance. We scored the highest number of goals today. We had several chances that probably could have scored. Alex Iwobi could have scored a goal at the point.
Ola Aina
could have scored a goal as well. And I think a couple of other, half chances here and there. But, we got 2 goals beyond the goalkeeper. Now, let's talk about the Cameroonian goalkeeper. Was he halfly playing for Nigeria today? Because both goals, I mean, come on.
Well, I think it's just fair to say that it's indeed Onana's cousin.
I wanted to say, if Onana is not at home, we still have Onana at home.
We still have Onana at home. So it's just fair. It's just sweet that he proves that he's not too different from the man we expected from Cameroon. And he just took the pressure off the other goalkeeper. So now he has to return to Manchester and see if he will be able to.
Probably in a private jet.
In another private jet.
But
then the tournament will have been over even before now. It's just football.
I think they were lucky. Yeah,
they were lucky.
They were lucky
against the Gambia, and they got that 3-2 wins. Their tournament will have just been over. So for them to have even played in this in this round of 16, there was no bites, no shots. They pressed fine, but then there was possession. There was really no bite. So beyond their goalkeeper, a lot of things was wrong with their style of play and the way they executed their game plan. It was not that the Super Eagles were too much to undo for them, but they couldn't just get away past the coordination of that team, and that was. So it was beyond having a bad goalkeeper. Maybe they didn't even have a bad goalkeeper. Maybe they could have even. Gambia scored twice against them. Yeah. So it goes a long way.
That means they definitely drew out to concede.
So against Senegal, they had Onana in goal. They conceded 3. So aside from Onana being Onana, they were very porous defensively as well. And the same thing against the Gambia. And in their first game too against Guinea, it was just the same thing. So they sure know how to concede. and they sure have bad goalkeepers.
3-4-3. Is that our fantastic formation for this Nations Cup?
Looks like the Cinco system for Ose Pesero. Because for him to have stuck with that formation, it means the boys have understood it. And you look at the understanding in such a way that Osimhen even defends. And Osimhen even still assists.
Osimhen plays with 15 lives.
So it's as if this whole formation thing is being thought out. At some points during the game, I just reasoned it within myself too and see with the way these boys have been executing this game plan. Even when we brought in Kenneth Omeru, Calvin Bassey moved to the flanks and we see a 3 at the back.
We didn't have a problem.
So it looked like during those friendly games that we saw, when we didn't deploy this formation, it perhaps exposed us from the middle to the attack. But then I think just to make things a little bit perfect, I think we still need a little bit of more combative midfielders. The same energy that Onyeka brings. Let's have the same energy.
We have Alassane Yusuf on the bench.
So
we have Alassane Yusuf on the bench. If we have a
fit Alassane playing and Frank Onyeka is doing the same thing that he's been doing in the last 2 games at least, and of course.
But why do we need 2 defensive midfielders?
Because we have to be combative because of the shape that we are keeping. When going forward, you need to just keep that and ensure that you have at least 4 where you want to be under pressure before it becomes 5 at the back.
So I can fall back.
So they can always be able to fall back. So it's a question of how well will they be able to just keep going. It seems that they've mastered it. But then on the other hand too, we don't score. But we scored 2 today.
2, and we could have had more.
It means one thing, and we could have had more. We keep creating the chances. So let's just keep taking them. 2 goals will be enough to win us matches when we don't concede.
Yeah,
1 goal
it's
will
AFCON,
be enough when we don't concede.
Yeah. One last thing now. I mean, going forward, we are going to be playing against Angola. We saw a fluid Angolan team against Namibia. I mean, what do you think? How do you think we should pursue that game? Should we continue with our 3-4-3? Should we expect the Lookman, Osimhen link up front in the middle of the park, Iwobi and a combative Frank Onyeka backline, same thing, except probably for our goalkeeper who don't know anything about his health as of now because of his injury. But do you think we should keep it same way? You don't change the winning formation, they say.
You don't change a winning team. I was going to extend that to formation.
Same for the formation.
If you are reading the mind of Ose Pesero by now, if he's been working, it will keep working. And to curtail some teams, you just need it. We saw Angola today, very fluid team. They might not be on our level when it comes to football. A lot of people will argue that if we are playing lesser teams, they shouldn't be playing some kind of defensive. But the goal is just stay compact.
Just win.
Just stay compact and win the game. So I see us sticking with that plan. It doesn't look like it will change. Barring the only thing that I think will change that formation in the next game is if we have any major injury to any of the executors
we hope not.
of that plan, and we hope not.
Wow, what a day it has been. I mean, personally, I'm super excited. We were trying to execute this game. I mean, has the Super Eagles of Nigeria with so much happiness and joy, but there was equally pressure. There was tension. We had history backing us because we usually don't lose to Cameroon except in a final. But in football, you never can say never. This was a team that was almost on their way out and had few seconds of rescue, and they were playing against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This is not just any team in Africa, regardless of how bad they've been in recent time. This was the indomitable the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, with Samuel Eto'o, their FA president and their leader and legend, watching from the stands. But at the end of 90 minutes, it ended 2-0 in favor of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. It's a very, very great day for us. We'll continue again during the weekend. I think it's Friday or Saturday. I think it's Friday. Yes, it's Friday. We are playing on Friday from reports I am getting. Great game it was. We hope that it will continue on Friday. We have 3 more games to win AFCON. Yes, 3 more games. We'll win the quarterfinals. We'll win the semifinals. We'll get in the finals. And we'll win the finals. Well, thank you very much for sticking around with us. It's been a fantastic day here. It's close to midnight, but of course, how else do we celebrate?
Just look at the next game before we peep into what's coming next. We don't even know if we will get there, but then it's been an interesting tournament. And I see more round of 16 games coming up.
God will help them
on the other side.
God has helped us. On behalf of the entire team, it's goodbye and have a fantastic night from me, Shegun Odwanyo.